Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Suwannee County Board of County Commissioner meeting for November 7th, 2023. At this time, I'll get Commissioner Perkins to do the invocation. Commissioner Mobley do the pledge. If you'll all stand up. Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come this afternoon to God, give you rendering thanks unto your holy and righteous name. We thank you, Father, for how you blessed and watched over and cared for us. And God, you kept us through many dangers, seen and unseen dangers. And now, God, we're here, dear God. You blessed this board, dear God. Whatever the affairs come before this board, dear God, give us the strength, the wisdom, and knowledge, of God, to handle these conditions and concerns. Look on everyone that's here, dear God. You bless them. And God, we come, dear God, as you look on the May family, dear God. They have lost a loved one. As that you bear upon every leaning side, dear God. Comfort the children, comfort the wife, dear God, comfort their family in their time of bereavement, as only you can, dear God. And we thank you in Christ, we pray. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started tonight, there's quite a few items been pulled off the consent agenda for discussion tonight. So if you come up and speak on that, I'd appreciate a prompt, state your case, and so we can move on, or we're going to be here all night. So if you'll just grant me that, I'd appreciate it. Starting off with item number 1, approval of minutes for the September 29th, 2023 special meeting, October 17th, 2023 regular board meeting, October 23rd, 2023 special meeting, and October 27th, 2023 special meeting. Are there any changes, or do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Land.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Moving on to the consent agenda, and we're probably going to have to stop in the middle of this before we get through with it because I've got a time-sensitive item, but we'll go ahead and get started. Item 2, Item 4, Item 6, 8, 10, 11, 15, and 17 have been pulled for discussion. So we'll be looking at items 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 19. Is there any discussion, or do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Perkins.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. First item is item number 2, approval of payment of processed invoices. I will have to recuse myself from voting on that, as there is an invoice in there to be paid to a company that I'm associated with. It's for fill dirt. It's something that's been going on since before I was a commissioner. So I'm just going to recuse myself from that vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Land.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
4-0. 4-0.
I'm sorry, 4-0.
I'm glad you recused yourself. You'll stop. Do time sensitive.
Yeah, I just need another 50 seconds. We're just going to hold up here for a second. Let me do this time sensitive. Anybody know any good jokes?
Go Noles.
I did see the Gators play the 2-6 Arkansas Razorbacks this weekend.
What was the outcome of that score, Mr. Chairman?
I have no idea. I didn't watch.
I did wear.
See the awesome play between Georgia and Tennessee. Oh, man.
It was a good game. I did wear orange trying to help the Gators out. I figured it couldn't hurt. You know?
Yeah, they need a little mercy.
Keep wearing it.
You asked for a good joke, buddy.
I'm done with that now. All right, at 5:35, item number 20, I'm sorry, at 5:35 or soon thereafter, as the matter can be heard, hold a public hearing to consider an ordinance repealing that part of Suwannee County Code assessing court costs to fund and administer teen court. Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board's aware, the teen court has been a program that had previously been authorized by an ordinance, and pursuant to that ordinance, a court cost has been assessed continuously since approximately 2007. The teen court program ceased to exist since at least 2020, and most recently, the clerk of court has terminated the contract with the teen court administrator. Accordingly, as there still is an ordinance which assesses a court cost to fund a non-existing program, we need an ordinance to repeal that particular court cost. So the proposed ordinance repeals that assessment of court costs to fund the non-existent teen court.
Are there any questions of Mr. Morrison on that?
No, sir.
Seeing none, I'll open the floor to public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Is there any further board discussion?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Land.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. At that time, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 4, approval of changes to purchasing policy and adoption of enabling resolution. Commissioner Mobley, I think you had this one for
I
me.
just had a question on one of them on section 16, change orders. Change orders not exceeding 5,000, may be authorized by the department head. All change orders in excess of 5,000 must be reviewed by the county administrator and approved, authorized by the board unless delayed against interest. But I was going to see if maybe we could change some verbiage on that to where, like if you have a $5,000 job, somebody could come in and do a change order, it could get abused in a certain way, and could turn into a $9,000 job very easy. What if we consider doing like 10% or 5,000, whichever is less? Say if there's a $4,900 job, come up with a change order system where it can be up to 10% of that job, and then not exceed 5,000 on a higher job.
On a change order?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hale.
is this directed towards something like that, or more like purchasing the way I understood it was purchasing product?
No, this is on change orders here.
I think it's actual projects would be in a change order is what I interpreted it as, Commissioner Hale.
Mr. Scott, does that refer
not
to
sure.
just change orders in general?
It refers to projects you bid out, like construction projects and that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
I would, I'm fine with whatever the commission would like to do. I think might look at if there's a change order that needs to come that's over 5,000, that's board approved, meaning something that we contracted out, bid out, then anything over 5,000, the administrator or the chairman sign off if it's time sensitive. If not, you can come back to the board.
So I'm just trying to make sure we're all wrapping our heads around this.
The smaller items are really not change orders in the sense of doing business. I mean, change orders are referred to as things that are contractual in nature, bigger projects, not small jobs.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Land.
I would like to add to that. Me and Mr. Scott spoke about this actually earlier today, and there's been a lot of discussion about change orders, and here we are tonight talking about them as well. On board-approved projects, which are normally significant in size, I think that going forward, a potential good amendment to our purchasing policy would be in those particular board-approved projects that the board had to put their stamp of approval on, those particular change orders. And as far as the 10%, I don't know what the number is, but particular change orders to board-approved projects, I do feel like they should probably come back to the board, because that took at least a majority vote to get the project done. And then, we have seen situations where it was change order, and the board is not privy to that information, but yet the board had to vote on that particular project due to the size of it. I don't have any particular project in mind, but I'm just saying if you talk about a $1 million project, the board approves it. Well, if you get a $100,000 change order, those types should come back, because that's significant in the eyes of a taxpayer. I think those should come back to the board and as Mr. Scott said, if it's a time is of the essence, hey, we budgeted for a left-hand turn here, but we actually need a right, and that's $2,500, and we're going to stop traffic for 3 days. Well, maybe the administrator and the chairman get together and sign off on that, and then bring it back to the board. It's like, hey, time is of the essence. We had to get this done. This is what we did, and we'll bring it back to y'all for informational purposes, up to a certain limit. I don't know what that number is, but and I don't know exactly what Commissioner Motley was talking about. I think he was talking about something along those lines.
Yeah, just like on the smaller scale jobs, if you had a $5,000 job and then they could come back with a change order almost comparable to that job and turn that $5,000 into a $9,000.
I understand. So I don't disagree.
On smaller jobs, it should be held back to where they can't just
keep change orders and turn a $5,000 into a
$9,000
or 10 or 20 or with change orders.
I'm not talking about the bigger jobs. I'm talking about the smaller ones that
Well,
turn
what
into
about
big.
change orders not exceeding $5,000 or 10%, whichever is less?
I'm good with that.
That's what I would add.
When you get into day-to-day operations, it's going to be extremely cumbersome to move forward with projects if you hold us to those kind of numbers on small projects. If it's 5,000 on big projects, and I don't want our hands tied to be able to get work done for the citizens.
I understand that too. 10% on $5,500. So if you get a
No, I'm saying he can do up to 5,000 or 10%, whichever. Well, I
but
guess it'd be
it's only
less,
going to get a $500.
That's right.
I don't want to. I think we got some really good employees and some really great department heads that are capable of making some really good decisions. So I don't want to tie their hands behind their back to where they can't, as Mr. Scott said, make a $500 decision and have to wait a week or 2 weeks to bring that back to the board. Maybe if you add in.
Maybe where the chairman could come in and look at it or something.
Again, look, we need to decide if it's basic work we're doing or if it's a project that is a contractual project we have with the contractor versus, somebody that's doing a minor, electrical job. Or, it's like, you get in and doing something and all of a sudden you need to change from a 30 amp to a 50 amp, and it's going to be, because the cost of material is going to be $6,000. We got to stop and come back to the board. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
Again, but it's your call.
And Mr. Chairman, that's kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning. I remember we had a discussion about this, of our department is not having enough say for, to buy product, whatever they needed. They were strapped, and it was slowing us down. But, I want to do what's physically right. Whatever the board decides on, I'm good with whatever y'all want to do. But I agree with you too, Mr. Land. We've got some pretty smart people that wouldn't abuse it.
This is my opinion.
So, Mr. Mobley, what is it that you want to see changed here?
I throwed it out there where I was talking about, just try to keep them lower jobs held accountable where they couldn't come back and turn them into a bigger paying job. It's happened in the past. But
I understand where Commissioner Mobley's going with it, and I agree with him. I just don't know how we word that to prevent that from happening, but also not tie the hands for the as, you know, as a change order for a cost of material, and they're out there and we upgrade the material, I mean, I think we're going to have to be careful how you change that, because I think you're going to catch up and cause a lot of roadblocks for some good intentions and no-brainers, and we just threw a big roadblock in the way that's going to slow down the work in progress for a no-brainer decision, in my opinion. But I'm not discounting what Commissioner Mobley said on some of the other stuff too. So
Sure.
I don't know how you fix that.
Mr. Chairman,
Moses?
Moses Klepper, 14581 102nd Pat. I was reading on this too. It drew my interest 5 months ago. And thing is, I mean, we're trying to get this county tighter for everybody, fair for everybody. I believe y'all are. But, you know, out in the private sector, you bid a job. That's what you do the job for, you know. Coming in here, I hear about all these change orders and these. I ain't got the privy. Well, I hadn't found all of them. Y'all have, but I've heard enough that it seems like it's pretty lax, you know. And again, out in the private sector, think about it, guys. Those guys, contractors, Mr. Perkins, you bid a job. Do you get the opportunity to say no? It's 9 instead of 5. No, you make sure you're experts in your field, and you should. I remember that he mentioned that 30 to a 50. Well, the guy should have known that pump needed a 50. You know, if he ain't expert enough to know that it needed a 50 when he went out there, he should have to eat it, you know. I don't think the taxpayers should have to be open, and I love the idea 10% or 5,000, whichever is less. That cuts it out. It gives them, that's what's in the private sector, that 10% is kind of standard.
Is that something we could come back to later, or table, or talk about, or
Mr.
have a
Chairman.
workshop on?
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
sorry, Commissioner Perkins, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know we have had that problem in the past, and I hear, and then I think like Mr. Klepper and some others have said about that, and I agree with Mr. Marbury, Commissioner Marbury about that. But I think is that we don't have that carelessness as much now. We have Mr. Scott over here handling it. I think if he just come back and give us reports on it, and then we should have have the micromanager, because he'll be one that'll be taking care of it. And I think that he's pretty strong and will not allow this thing to be happening. To just give out work change orders.
Well, how about this? How about we leave it as is, the 5,000 reviewed by county administrator and reviewed by the county administrator, in which case the chairman shall authorize work. What if we just left it alone, and that all change orders, whether approved by the county administrator or not, that still has to come before the board, even after it's approved, just so we can see it?
That's all I'm saying. Let him make reports to us. He will review it and make reports to us as need be.
So I'm just saying he can go ahead and approve it, but it's still, we still get to review it even if it's after the fact.
Mr. Chairman, just one legal issue to come up with that is if you went that way, it would be, the review wouldn't be subject to board approval, because he would have had to have had the authority to approve it. But
it's just for information
right,
purposes, is where I'm going with this.
If it's getting out of hand, that way you all find out about
We'll
it real
know.
fast.
That's where I'm going with it.
All right, but I just wanted to be clear for record purposes that you're not limiting his authority to approve in the first
You
instance.
okay with that, Mr. Mobley? Is that everybody else?
And not if we, let's say we're doing work and we want to add work to that. Let's say we're putting down turf and we realize we got a good deal of turf, we can add another field to that. As a bad example, but as opposed to, when I think of change orders, I want to make sure I'm clear. When we're talking about change orders, to me, change orders is an agreement we make with a vendor to provide X service. If we change the scope, that's a different scope. If we get into it and then they want to change the number, that's a different conversation. So like the change orders we've had before on contracts, certainly I totally agree that we need to bring that back. I'm totally okay with that. Just make sure we're on the same page on what a definition of a change order is.
Well, my idea of what a change order is if we got a bid or a contract, and if it's in the scope of work and they come back with a change order for something that was in that, then that's what I would call a change.
Agreed.
Mr. Chairman, if I could give an example that may just clarify, because I think what we're having is a discussion about terminology, and I'll just give an example that's happened recently here. There was the chip seal project where that went out for bid. We got a bid back, and then they came back and said, we can't do it for the bid upon price. This is one of my first dealings with procurement. Can we do a change order and up it? The answer to that was, like, it didn't even come before y'all. It was just no.
Yeah.
To bid on what Mr. Klepper said, you said it was X, you can't meet your bid, we rebid it out, which is what we did. So that's not a change order. In fact, that's already the state of the law in that, because that's a real easy way for corruption and such to happen.
Yeah.
So a change order would be consistent with what Mr. Scott said. So for example, we're making, we realize that because of the nature of the roadway here, we didn't provide for enough drainage, so now we're going to have to change the scope and add for some additional drainage. That would be a true change order. And that's the sort of thing which I don't think there's any issue with bringing before the board. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay on terminology. Is that consistent with what I said?
Absolutely. I think the chairman stated it well.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that, I'm going to just read what's here. Change orders not exceeding $5,000 may be authorized by the department head. All change orders in excess of $5,000 must be reviewed by a county administrator and approval authorized by the board unless a delay is against the public interest, in which case the chairman shall authorize the work and report his action at the next board meeting. And what I'm saying is we can leave that language the same, but all change orders that will come before the board for review, or I don't know how to put
At least, or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Sure.
at the next regular board meeting.
We'll put our eyes on it.
Sure, certainly.
Did I state that well enough, Mr. Morrison, or do you need to add something to that?
No, I'm good.
Do you want it in the board, Mr. Chairman, do you want it in a board meeting, or do you want him to, and that's fine, I mean, for public knowledge, that'd probably even be better, I was gonna say, or in an email that if we had a question on it, we could call it up to discuss it, but I know, and Mr. Scott and I think, had discussed this one time. There was like and this is what I kind of thought a change order would be. Let's say you were putting up a 10-foot of guardrail, but you get out there and 10 foot's not enough. And you had allotted $5,000 for that, but you needed 5 more foot. It was their decision to go ahead and make, and not hold up the job and go ahead and put the other 5 foot of rail in.
And I'm saying that's fine. I'm just saying, after the change order's made, it still comes before us just to review.
I'm good
So
with that.
we're informed of
The
what's
only
going
thing
on.
I,
Yes.
in the form
Yes.
of a report.
Report,
The
yes.
only thing that I would add to that is I don't want to make this process any more cumbersome. We got department heads, they got authority, let them do their job. That's why the county administrator has hired them, or someone hired them. And that's fine, but on the projects, if we're going to talk about change orders, on the projects, the $5 million projects, the $3 million projects that the board approves, I think all of those change orders, because most of those are going to be significant,
Sure.
come back to the board.
I agree with that.
I mean, I don't want, because then I think you go to the, the 35,000? I mean, hypothetically, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we could have $1 million project and get the county administrator, whoever it is at the time, 35,000 change order, 35,000 change order, 35,000. Well, wait a minute, like, we had to approve that, and we approved it for $1 million, and now you just got me for 1.2, and I didn't even know about the 2.
Well, I think it's covered here. It's only giving him the power to do $5,000.
Right.
And then even at that, it still has to come back a report just so we can see what it was.
Fair enough.
Are you okay with that,
sir.
Mr. Scott?
Perfect.
Is there anything else on,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hancock, I didn't see you over there.
Okay.
Name
Wayne
and
Yannick,
address.
1183 93rd Road. Every time you get talking about change orders, I get annoyed. it appears like you want to micromanage. And if you're asking for a change order to come back to you after it's been approved, what does that do for you, other than you know it's already approved?
It just informs us of what happened.
But you can't do anything about it. You can't,
I understand that,
you can't
but,
say no at that point.
and I understand that, but
I think,
they're not going to keep bringing them if it's a $5,000 job and it's a $5,000 change order. If they know it's got to come before us, even just to look at, then I think that stops any of this 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Just keep adding on, and the next thing you know, it's a $25,000 job.
I think that stops with with your county administrator.
And I do too, and I trust Mr. Scott. It's not that. I just think there needs to be some transparency on those change orders. And even if he's approved it, I'm not saying he can't approve it. I just want to see what he approved.
I guess my point is,
It's not micromanaging. I just want to see it.
you're kind of like,
Transparency.
Thank you.
Everybody
You're
needs to be held
asking-
accountable.
I agree with that.
So I don't see where bringing a report back to the
From the-
board to just see, well, we approved this change order on this,
I
this
guess-
change order on that. It just shows us what was done.
My point is, at that point, you can't go back to the vendor and say, we're not going to approve this.
no.
No, we're not saying that.
You go back to the employee saying, hey, why did you just turn a $5,000 job into a $35,000 job? You played the system. You got a bid for $5,000 worth of concrete, and then you did 5 change orders to use the same guy and the same contractor, so you didn't have to bid it, and it turned into a $35,000 job. That's what I think Mr. Mobley's trying to prevent, because then at that point, that should have been bid out to give everybody who wanted to bid it an equal opportunity to potentially save the taxpayer some money, not, I like John Doe contractor, I'm gonna use John Doe, hey, just give me a bid for $5,000 bucks.
I
Then I'm
agree
gonna
with
change
that.
order it all the way up till we get what we need.
And this
I guess I don't want to see you micromanage
I don't either.
your
We're not,
people.
and I think that's the trade-off here is we're going to give him the authority just like he wants in here, but we want to see it after the fact.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's like a twofold. It's just holding, whether it be a department head or someone that's bid on the job, a little more accountable to know what they got to do. And then number two, just an update for public knowledge and ourselves.
I think so.
I think it's a twofold thing.
Kind of back to what we talked about that one Friday morning, that a change order that comes about because of a design issue, then you need to be looking at your designers, not your contractor.
And we agree on that.
Yeah.
This is just to limit these smaller jobs from turning from a small job to a larger job without bidding it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Hannigan.
Is there any more changes to the,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perkins?
Mr. Chairman, on section 19, accountability of tangible asset, the procurement of items of 2,500 or greater shall be considered a tangible asset. What about those things? I guess, Mr. Scott, anything under 2,500, so that's not, is that saying it's not county property? It was just if somebody taken and stole a chainsaw, and there's no tag on that. So that's what it's saying? You know, 2,500 less, or should we drop that down some?
Well, I was prepared to drop it down, but the idea is the tracking mechanism is very cumbersome through the county process. And that may sound, just trying to be transparent, you know, we track that kind of equipment, you know, even lower, we got chainsaws as an example. After the storm, during the storm, we bought chainsaws. We've got them all locked down, checkout mechanism process, we know who's checking them out, we know what we got. You know, we track those sort of things. When we have put a sticker on it, you know, when you get to a point where that chainsaw is no good anymore, and after you've got it repaired, it becomes a disposable item. And now we have to, on those kind of items, come back to the board for formal approval to get rid of those. It's just a process And, you know, is 2,500 the right number? That's what it was. If it needs to be 15, I'm fine with that. It's you know, does it need to be 50? Heck no.
Well, I understand your point there because I own and operate a business, and I can tell you, it's hard to keep up. A lot of paperwork on small items.
Right.
So I'm good with the $2,500.
Well, I'm just saying, if you got, chainsaw, like you said, during the storm, and those saws will be from $700 to $1,200 for a saw, whatever price you pay for them. And I know that they do depreciate. You know, it's kind of hard. I know you want to go in there and keep a tab on nuts and bolts and put a tag, keep all that stuff there. But it's some item I'm just thinking that we have at $2,500. Could be a riding mower. And
Couldn't be a riding mower.
well, it's probably,
Mr. Perkins, what's your number?
well, it's $1,500.
I can live with 15.
Good with 15.
15.
So under item 19, accountability of tangible assets, that number will change to $1,500. Are you okay with that, Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I was going to propose that.
Who was thinking of like okay.
Is there any other changes?
None.
Do I have a motion to approve with the so before mentioned changes?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Land.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Yes, sir. Hang on just a minute, Mr. Clipper. Item number 6 is, I guess, that why you're standing there?
No, sir.
Okay. What?
Actually, it's on this policy. It's not the stuff y'all was discussing. That's gone. But on Section 7, y'all scratching the requirement to maintain a list of vendors. I don't understand that at all. That's hard for me to understand why we wouldn't want a list of vendors. If for bidding or quotes or anything, I mean, I just don't. Can we have a explanation of why we would want to omit a list of vendors? I think
If we're responsible for a list of vendors and somebody new comes to town and they didn't get on the list, then we're criticized. If we have a group of vendors that we have to mail out to individually that's on a list, and then half of them are out of business later, you cannot keep a clean list of vendors.
But then I've heard discussion, and I agree with that concern. And it's not necessarily a lack of trust; it's human nature. You get a favorite even if it ain't corruption, if it's just convenience. And our brother-in-law, I like the guy, and I know he's going to do us fair. I ain't got to ask him. I just let him do the job. But if everybody gets noticed, going to the fire department signs. If we had that list of vendors and that gentleman that I brought his text from, if he was on that list, he would have been included in that. He'd have had opportunity to do that job. Right. And if we don't have a list, then those people are possibly going to get passed by.
Well, in all fairness, there is a issue, maybe isn't the right word, but the communication tool to get the word out for bids and letting know we got jobs available is tough. We put things on the website, we put on Demand Star, we get the word out that way. Put it in the paper, but people don't read the paper to look for bids.
But if you have a list of vendors, you notify your whole list, and if you and require a response. If they don't respond, scratch them from the list.
And that's great in theory, and I don't disagree with you at all that we need to find a way to do better. But again, you got another 30 minutes of staff time. It's like
30 minutes of staff time, though, saves us the Volvo deal, $467,000 by including that vendor for that dump truck for American-made product instead of considering buying a Chinese-made product, inferior product. I don't think any taxpayer object to spending 30 minutes of staff time to save us $467,000.
Well, I know with the federal government or anybody, state even, you have to register with them to be on a list,
On a county list?
on a vendor list.
Well, and so that would be on them, though, not our staff.
Well, that's right. They would have to request to be on that list.
And we could explore trying to do something. To me, it being in policy is not, that doesn't really make, I mean, we would need to try to find a way to do that. I don't disagree we need to find a way, but put in policy that we will, you know.
I don't disagree with you. I think I'd love for everybody to do as much as they can local. That's the way I've always been. But at some, just 1 second, ma'am. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just don't know how we get there from here right now. And maybe there's some software or something, I don't know, or you look at the state's thing or the federal government's thing and come up with something, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't think it plays a part in this right here.
Well, again, I only have a little bit of references, but on that dump truck thing, I got the agenda, and I went on the daggum search engine, and I'm focused on American made, and of course locally if we can. But so that was included in my search.
Well, so was your commissioners. That's why it didn't get done. That's what you pay us for.
What's that?
To review stuff like that.
Oh, to prevent the Volvo from being done. And I appreciate that. And I mostly trust that, you know?
Well, I mean, I get it, but you come up here all the time and you criticize what we do, but yet we're elected to do what you're asking us to do, and I think we do a pretty fair job of it. Are we 100%? No. But I think we do a pretty fair job of guarding the taxpayers' money.
And I believe most of the time you are. And it's unfortunate you think I'm up here to criticize, because I'm actually up here to try to contribute.
Well, and I get that, and I said I agree with you, but I just don't want to keep beating this to death. I agree with you, and we'll look into seeing what we can do, because I'm already behind that.
Fair enough. I was waiting for you to get done. I was exiting.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. If you don't mind, would you come to the mic and name and address, please?
Virginia Yatton, 14950 140th Street. I was curious as to how small local businesses know about the bids, because my sister-in-law owns a small business, and she's never known about any bids, to enter any bids. She's always left out.
All she has to do is contact us, let her know that she's interested in bidding something, because they are on the agenda of what we're bidding. All they have to do is say, we'd like to be included, what's the information?
She never hears about anything, because I ask her that. She says nobody ever puts anything out where she can get a hold of it to know that they're taking bids. And that's the way a lot of small businesses here tell me,
It's on the
that
website.
they don't get it.
Mr. Chairman.
And ma'am, I'm a business owner too, and I used to do a lot of this, and when I was interested in doing something like that, it was on me to figure out who's bidding what. I mean, you got to put a little effort into it yourself and contact people and get on lists or whatever the case may be, register with the state, with the federal government, whatever you got to do. But if that's your thing, there's some responsibility to you as a business owner to contact people or find out.
That's exactly what I'm up here trying to do, so that I can tell her this is what they said you needed to do so that you can be looked at.
Yes, ma'am, and we want her to. Mr. Mobby.
But on the bid, I think if it's going out for bid, it's advertised, right? But some department heads can just go get 3 quotes, and nobody never knows about the bid. It ain't really a bid.
Well, it's not bids, it's quotes. If we're trying to buy something that's below the threshold, we go to vendors to get prices. You know, if we don't know you're out there, you know, if somebody has got a product and she knows that the library buys that product, they need to go visit the people at the library and say, hey, we provide this product. Next time you're getting quotes, we would like to be included.
Okay. I will bring her with me to the next meeting.
Thank you. We would love to have her. Thank you.
And, Mr. Chairman, just on the heels of that, for these smaller projects, or maybe even larger, I know you said we advertise some of this in the paper. Maybe we get with the radio station and do it like a PSA, public service announcement, say, just FYI, any local vendors want to bid on something. I don't know. It is hard, but you're right, some of the local guys, and we get those calls, like the chairman said. I got one today. I just talked to Mr. Jason Fury about someone wanting to be involved in doing jerseys for the soccer and football and things like that. And you know, that's something we still navigate through to try to get that word out to let everybody have that opportunity. So it is challenging. It is. Yes,
Mr. Scott, could we look into maybe looking down and see if there's some kind of software where we could put, and people could register or whatever, just to see if there's something available? I'm sure there is, but I just don't know how expensive that is or how much it is to operate, but
We just
check into it.
Yeah, we just create a database and do that. That's I've got on my list of things to look into. We've talked about it internally. It's just, you know, trying to find the right mechanism to do that and keep it current. That's the tough part. You know, you look at who always gets things mailed out to them or emailed out for the agenda and packets. That grows and grows and grows, and then you get people that's not interested anymore, but we still got to send it out to 412 people.
Well, that's kind of where I think it's in the IT world to try to figure something out where they can, the business owner has to take the initiative to register, you know, and then it's in a database and when we send it out.
We'll work on that.
Thank you.
You know, and that's a great idea because we have something similar to that at my place, and if when they receive that, they have to acknowledge they received it, and then if you get those that don't acknowledge it or just kind of pass by, then you can start with, you know, taking them off the list and maybe make your list more manageable.
Right.
Possible, yeah. Good idea.
Thank you. So we're moving, we approve that. So we're item number 6. Approval of amendments to Suwannee County Personnel Rules and Regulation and adoption of enabling resolution. And I didn't write down who done this, so which was there a commissioner?
Travis.
That wasn't me.
Was there somebody in the audience that asked me to pull that?
You got a winner.
That's a silly question.
I don't even ask for a salary. And I truly believe I put more time into this than some of my representatives. So, and it don't even need to be appreciated, but I'm still Moses. On this, I apologize, I ain't got it all printed out, but under exempt salaries, under Section 1, definition of terms, go down 2 paragraphs, exempt salaries. The exempt status, man, I'd like to, first thing, just to give the short of it, I don't know if any of y'all, I'm not an expert in this, but I've read enough on it. Exempt employees are excluded from overtime requirements. Non-exempt employees are paid overtime for time worked in excess of 40 hours. Let's see, for an employee to be classified as exempt, he has to meet following qualifications: salary-based test. Employee must receive a predetermined fixed salary that is not subject to reduction due to variations in quantity of work performed. So they could do a crappy job, they could show up or not show up, and they still must be paid. And then duties test, an employee must qualify as an executive, administrative personnel professional or computer professional, as defined in the FLSA. I think it's just opening, until I heard recently that exempt employees are getting paid overtime. Now, they could exempt employees in this county could work, like I said, 2 hours this week or 60 hours this week, and he or she should get the same check. But then we could have a state of emergency like we've had since the storm. I think we're still under it, and so it's just to open it up for abuse. I don't think that any exempt employee should get a penny overtime, period. There's benefits in that, and they shouldn't accept the exempt status if they don't want to work for their salary.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lane.
let me ask you this. So on the exempt employees that are your salaried positions, how do you, when the hurricane hits and all you know what breaks loose and you call those folks in, question number one, what incentive do they have to leave their homes and their families to come work for this county if they're not going to be compensated for it? And then number two, if you don't want to compensate them, why would they even come at all?
Salary. That's what salary is.
So
You ever worked a salary job?
Yes, sir. Yeah. This ain't an attack on me personally. I'm just asking a question. So if the salaried person makes $60,000 a year, he's already hit his 40 hours. The storm hits on a Saturday morning. You need him to come to work. You don't want to pay him for that. You just say, no, you're going to come.
That's right. That's part of the salary. And that's also for the weeks.
That's a salary.
Exempt salary are not required by the state of Florida to be paid overtime. So that's an objection. I doubt it's going to go anywhere, but it's opening up for abuse, and I'm pretty sure eventually we're going to be shocked by the amount of abuse that happened during the storm. That's all. Y'all do what you want, of course. The next one, extended family, it says down there, it says and cousin. It doesn't describe, it should be, I believe it could have been just a misprint, but it should be first cousin, I do believe. I don't think we're wanting to pay for sixth cousin or whatever.
You said under extended family?
Yes, sir. The very next paragraph, yes.
It says aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, and first cousin.
Yeah, on mine it says cousin.
It says first cousin in mine.
On yours, does it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then.
Section 1 definition of terms.
Flip back one.
Oh, okay.
Go back one.
Yeah, I'm in definition of terms. That's what I said earlier.
All the way to the front.
Yes, right up front. Right under all the whereases.
Gotcha.
Section 1 definitions of terms. The third subsection, extended family.
I think that's probably a typo because that contradicts what's on page.
Okay, well, as
Whatever
long
that
as
is.
we agree or y'all are aware.
We can make that change, can we not, Mr. Scott?
Certainly.
First cousin.
And I believe when you go on down from that, section 2.03 in administration, it pretty much gives the interpretation of all the personnel rules to two individuals that are not on board. And I believe, like y'all sound like y'all did with that $5,000 change order thing, I think that y'all ought to have a part of that. I don't think that should be. I think the board should have access to that. That's
Well,
all.
under county administrator rules, correct me if I'm wrong, that's your purview, is it not?
I didn't catch all of what Mr. Klepper said.
He's saying that you shouldn't have the ability to approve the overtime.
No.
Is that what I'm hearing?
No. The personnel rules, I'm going down to 2.03 administration, several subsections down. It says human resources will assist the county administrator in matters related to interpretation, that's my point, interpretation of the personnel rules and regulations, and assist department heads and supervisors in the efficient performance of the workforce of Suwannee County. So the interpretation of the rules y'all do, the person in that seat and the HR person decides what y'all meant.
Well, and I think that's what we pay him for.
Okay, that's fine. If you go down to 23.08 in sick leave, benefit accruals, it says when using sick leave, employment benefits such as annual leave, sick leave, holiday pay will continue. There's no limit on that. And if someone wanted to be, I just see an opportunity for abuse there, if somebody wanted to.
Well, I think all that means, correct me if I'm wrong, if a guy's on vacation for a week, he still accrues the hours of vacation or sick leave that he would have gotten while he was working. That's the only change.
And a week wouldn't bother me, but a year would.
Well, I don't think nobody's getting a year off.
Nobody's got that much time for
There's
vacation.
limits on that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yep. Down to the next one, leave with pay, in that paragraph, it says prior proper notice. I couldn't read anywhere in this document where that's defined.
Say that again?
In that, I didn't want to have to read the whole paragraph, but in that, it's underlined. It says prior proper notice. It'll be granted with prior proper notice. Well, there's nowhere that defines prior proper notice. That's, you know, what's prior proper notice?
Anytime before you leave?
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we are talking about bereavement pay here.
Yes.
So nobody chooses
No.
that somebody's going to pass away, and a lot of times that comes unexpected, and so prior proper notice would be 5 minutes, I would say.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
All right. When y'all taking away the requirements of proof, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Another opportunity for abuse and nepotism. But you get down to...
Excuse me, can you back up on that part?
Yep.
What are you reading?
Well, you got line through, must submit an appropriate county documentation form 2309BL from Human Resource Office and provide written proof of relationship. You know, I literally had a contractor that he was 72 years old and his granddaddy died. All right, was one of his excuses for not completing my job. So, you know.
Well, Mr. Klepper, it says may be required to do that. I mean, I think that if I'm just going to use an example, if Mr. Scott's department head sister dies, he's probably going to know who that sister is, and if he doesn't, at that point he says, all right, under whatever this is, number 1, I'm going to need you to may be required to provide. I'm going to need you to provide me proof of that because I don't know your sister who lives in California. But nonetheless, your sister that lives here in Live Oak that passed away, unfortunately, sure, go ahead. I don't need the form.
Right.
It says may be required.
Yep.
So some of this, I think, falls back on, I mean, we hired a county administrator to do the job, and, I mean, I think you got to entrust him to
earn my opinion right there.
Earn the money that you're paying and use his discretion at making some of these decisions. And if it gets out of hand or there's abuse, it's surely going to make its way to at least one commissioner, and it'll be talked about in a board meeting, I would think.
And 12 years later, we get him removed. But okay, going down to extended family, says regular full-time employees get up to 3 days leave per occurrence. That's exactly the same as what's offered for the immediate family. There's no county, neighboring county, that offers any bereavement pay for extended family. My consideration would be a day, but 3 days, giving them the same. I don't even know why you have this category separate if you're going to have the exact same bereavement for extended family as you have for immediate family. It doesn't make sense to me, and I think there's no county, the state doesn't offer for extended family. Actually, the average for the bereavement for all the neighboring counties and the state of Florida is 2.3 days bereavement for immediate family and nothing for extended family. So, you know.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
can I
Lee.
speak to that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Klepper, I understand what you're saying, and I understand your point is because you've said it before, that just because it's wrong doesn't mean we should keep doing this. Well, that's where we're going to disagree on that. I'm going to disagree with it. I don't know about the board, but that has been there for as long as I can remember, and our employees are the backbone of this county. I'm certainly not going to be a part of a board that takes something away from them that they've had for, I don't know, 20 years. Some of them don't make a lot of money, and some of them are probably closer to their aunt or their uncle. Then they may not even have a mom, and their uncle may have raised them. I don't know those situations, and I'm not going to speculate. But I'm also not going to speculate on all of the loopholes and negativities that could occur. Those are going to occur. There are going to be those in the purchasing policy. They're going to be here in the employee handbook. I mean, you're going to have people find loopholes, but I'm not going to change everything because of a few rotten apples in the whole barrel. We got good people that work for us. They've had this forever. I'm not taking it away from them.
Okay, we're not addressing a loophole. We're addressing 3 days bereavement time for
But
extended
what I'm
family.
saying, I know, but you question the aunt, the uncle, you question who's extended, who's not, you question,
No.
filling out the form and not filling out the form. Like, I mean, I get where you're coming from on some of this, but I mean, you're digging pretty deep on our people.
I take this serious, sir. Hopefully all y'all do too.
I do.
as well.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner, I'm sorry.
the key thing is up to. It's not another vacation, 3 vacation days. If the individual does not need 3 days or 2 days, they don't take that. We've had several cases where employee asked to take off a day. The funeral was on Sunday. They came back in town on Sunday. They want to take off on Monday. I said, no, it's up to.
Well,
Try to give us a little bit of integrity in what we're trying to do and trying to manage departments and trying to manage people. All I hear is negativity and all the things we're doing wrong and what we can do wrong, and it gets a little bit old, and I need to hush, but we're trying to manage people and build the morale of these people, and it's up to us to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure they're at work when they need to be at work. And I'll hush.
Y'all, all of y'all can try to stifle me. I'll continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not personally attacking anyone, but I have a right to do it. I pay taxes. I'll continue, guys.
Have I ever shut you down from speaking?
You've interrupted me regularly.
Well, I'm the chairman, I can do that.
Well,
But
actually, by
I actually let
Robert's rule, you're not allowed to when it's my time.
I can actually, I can, and I do let you speak. I've never shut you down. I've asked you to speed it up.
Yep.
But I have never refused you an opportunity or anyone else to speak.
You're fair about that, other than trying to interrupt and distract.
So can
But
we move along? As I explained in the beginning of this meeting, I got a long list here.
Right. And I've tried moving along. I'm being as quick as I can. I think it's embarrassing for y'all to leave the extended family exactly the same as the immediate family.
Well,
I think it's embarrassing.
We have a difference of opinion, so can we move on?
And real quick on that, Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to jump in, but I do, Mr. Moses, I think, because I've been in a situation with this with my employees, and it was an extended person, but it was travel time that they needed off for. They wasn't in the immediate area, so they had to travel out of town to go
I get
to a
that.
funeral and travel back. And I think that's where that covers that. That's where it helped me with that employee when he needed to take 3 days off to travel.
And there's personal time that covers that.
Right.
And when it gets down to coworker, nobody gives any time for coworkers. And actually, as this was written, and y'all could say I'm looking at minutia, but I'm not. the way it's written, every time anybody related to any county employee in this county dies, the way this is written, everybody gets 4 hours leave.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else wanting to speak? Do I have a motion to approve?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lane.
with the amendment to the extended family being first cousins matching whatever those pages are, because they did contradict. One said cousin, one said first cousin. So with that amendment being made so that they match to both say first cousin, I would move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Land with the change.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Number 8, authorization to extend the current lease with Beard Equipment for a 544L wheel loader for 24 months with a warranty for the road department. And I pulled this item, and the reason I'm pulling this item is I think we need to purchase this loader instead of continue leasing. The buyout, Shannon sent me an email with the buyout on it. Just a second. To buy the loader would be $111,203. And as you can see, a new unit is $212,735. And I can tell you, I just purchased this same loader with more hours on it than that loader and paid $150,000 for it. Yes.
Wow.
So, to my way of thinking, why not just purchase the loader for $111,000 instead of keep making the lease payments on it and take the equity in it?
And those hours are low.
Then the hours are very low on that unit.
Yep.
And that $150,000 I paid for that loader did not come with a grapple. So I'm just putting that out there. That's just the way I think.
Is there any, Mr. Chairman, I was asking, I don't have a problem with it. Is there any advantage to the extended lease? You or Mr. Scott may know as far as any kind of warranty coverage?
The warranty is the same. If you'll notice, there's a $10,324 payment for the warranty.
Right.
So I'm just excluding the warranty. You're going to pay it if you buy it or if you lease it. You're going to still pay for it.
I see
So
where your mind's
mine
at.
is just on the actual number itself.
I got you.
Mr. Chairman, it'd be my recommendation that you purchase it, look at the numbers. Apologize for not getting those numbers so you can take your choice earlier. But Shannon and I talked about it a little bit later this afternoon, and I think it's the right thing to do is to purchase between the lease payment, and we can make up the difference in the budget.
If you don't, can I?
No.
But that's just where I'm at on it. So I don't know how we handle this. Do you want to just bring it back as a purchase, or?
It's already on the agenda.
Can we do it now?
I would just make a motion to purchase.
Is
That's
there any
appropriate
other
with
discussion
the-
from the other board members?
My only question, I too agree. We need to just purchase this with the amount of hours on it, and for that dollar figure, you'll own it. You'll own it for the same amount of money as what you will if you pay 2 lease payments and you still don't own it. So you pay that same amount of money and it's yours in 2 years. So my only question would be, Mr. Scott, is where are you going to use that? You got the money in the budget or out of contingency? Where do you want to pull those funds from?
I think we can make it up in the budget. You got the lease payment, that's half of it, making up the other $50,000. I think we can do that through the budget.
I think there's a line item in there. There's a contingency in there for equipment purchases.
I think so. And yeah, I mean, there is. I just want to make sure he had that covered.
Yeah.
I know the 56 is already in the budget because it's anticipated to make this anyway. So like he said, he's only having to come up with the difference between the 112 and the 56. So not a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money, but not a lot to find in a budget.
I think it's in that line item.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the purchase.
Motion by Commissioner Land to purchase the 544L wheel loader instead of the 2-year lease. Second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, approval of amended task order with North Florida Professional Services for engineering services associated with County Road 136 and 137 utility main extension, Markham Water main extension, funded by ARPA funds. Mr. Scott.
This task order got to us a little bit late. We already, via phone and email, had North Florida do the work they needed to do for the engineering for that project. It's a timing issue on just getting the invoice in or the task order in, and the work's been done, completed, got signed off on DEP for the permitting, so my recommendation is for approval.
Mr. Hancock, you good with that?
So, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve item number 10.
Motion by Commissioner Land, second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 11, approval of memorandum of agreement with the State of Florida Department of Commerce detailing the terms and conditions of the redesignation of the North Central Rural Area of Opportunity. And again, I didn't write down who pulled that. Is anybody? Sure. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Land. Second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. 5-0. Item number 15, authorization to enter into a piggyback service agreement between Public Consulting Group, LLC, and Suwannee County Fire Rescue for assistance with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services ground ambulance data collection system, and authorize staff to execute any associated documents. Budget impact $35,000 to be paid from the EMS budget. I think, Mr. Hand, you just want to explain this?
Yes, sir. Just, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, basically what this is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services passed, the legislation was passed that requires data reporting, and it's kind of like the fire assessment. If an independent firm doesn't do this, it opens us up for auditing and basically creates a situation to where if we don't do this and do it correctly, that it makes it to where we're not allowed to bill for Medicare or Medicaid, which is 70% of our revenue that comes in from EMS transports. So this firm is already affiliated with the county and does our PEMT program that brings more revenue in from the Medicaid side. They're familiar with our county. The agreement that they have with Volusia County states in their agreement that it is available for piggyback services. So they've been procured through a formal bidding process. We just piggyback off that contract, and we have a time frame to meet on this by February of next year. So it allows us to get that done in the time frame to where we can continue to bill for Medicare and Medicaid.
Kind of like FEMA, ain't it?
Sir?
Kind of like FEMA, ain't it? You got to have it right or
Exactly.
you don't get the money. Well, we appreciate the explanation. Is there any further discussion, or have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hale.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 17, declare West Haney Chevrolet as sole source provider and authorize the purchase of one 2023 Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab 1500 in the amount of $45,825 for the Parks and Recreation Department, and it is a budgeted item. Mr. Moses.
Anybody considered using that CEI's truck? The guy that, the position they got removed, I heard.
Mr. Chairman, we already have a use for that other truck.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. And I just want to point out, while I'm up here, I didn't want to come up during the thing, because I'm glad y'all buying that thing. But I know we've had issue before, and I apologize that I find fault. You know, it ain't finding fault. I just, anyway, on this loader, we were notified on October 12th that the lease expired on October 30th. And so I was wondering, do we have a penalty, a financial penalty because of that?
I'm not sure, but I will check into it.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or a motion to approve item number 17?
So So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hale.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Land. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Holy cow. Who's here for National Hospice? Did they make it, Mandy? No? Okay, constitutional officers, is there anybody wishing to speak? Any staff items? Now we'll move on to proclamations and presentations. Item number two. What?
She's short.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. So I'm going to bring you some good news, fellas.
Good.
Wonderful.
I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Raymond Balaguer. He's our new commercial crops agent. He comes to us from Penn State, where he's an extension educator up there. His specialties include vegetable production, including high tunnels, hydroponics, and agroforestry. So he's been with us 5 days, and we're putting him to work. So where'd he go? So I just wanted to introduce Raymond. I have more exciting news. Aaron Jones, who you know is our livestock and forage agent, recently competed in the Florida Farm Bureau State Contest Discussion Meet. And it's for young farmers and ranchers, and she won a brand new John Deere Gator, which we tried to get her to bring to the office, that she wouldn't do it. So we're excited about that. So she's the state winner. She's going to represent Florida and Utah in January at the American Farm Bureau meeting, where she has an opportunity to win $35,000 towards a Ford truck. So all her expenses are paid through Farm Bureau, so we're pretty excited about that.
Congratulations, Aaron.
Congratulations.
So I thought that the judging criteria for that is very interesting. It's based on a committee-style meeting, and judging is based on constructive criticism, cooperation, communication, while analyzing agricultural problems and developing solutions. So kudos to Aaron for that.
Congratulations.
That's good.
A little closer to home, I'll have a new crop of Master Gardener volunteers graduating next week. They've suffered through 14 weeks of training all day on Wednesday from 8 to 4:30. They've completed plant ID, they've completed topic test every week, they've done a final exam and a class project. So they'll be out helping us extend outreach in the community. And then lastly, this is super exciting from the 4-H standpoint. We recently had kids, we took 15 kids to Lafayette for the farm judging contest. There was about 100 kids there. Suwannee had the first place intermediate team, the first place junior team, and we did not have a senior team. Out of that, a junior, Riley Dasher, was the third highest individual in the judging contest, and she beat out about 25 seniors for that. And then Levi Starling was the overall contest winner, combining the farm manager contest along with the judging piece, and he was named the high individual of the combined contest. So remember a few meetings ago I told you they were going to nationals? Mm-hmm. They're on their way.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. And welcome aboard. Thank you, Ms. Carolyn.
Good luck, my friend. Yes, sir.
I bet Mr. Raymond's going to be very happy to be here in another couple months when that snow hits Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's right.
He's already had.
Any other staff items? You want to say something, Mayor? Sir?
Donnie Glover, 302 Wadman Street, Brantford, Florida. Brantford High School volleyball team went to the state today. Unfortunately, they did not win, but at least they made it all the way.
And I knew they had made it, but I hadn't heard the results, so thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm proud of them.
Absolutely.
Item number 21, adoption of a resolution proclaiming November 2023 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month in Suwannee County, Florida. And unfortunately, Amanda couldn't make it for this, so I'll read the proclamation and just know that that's something that that's dear to me. And unless you've never used it, it's very helpful.
You want me to read it for you?
I can do it. Proclamation. Whereas for more than 40 years, Haven has helped provide comfort and dignity to thousands of people in North Florida, allowing them to live their last months, weeks, or days comfortably with the people they love. Whereas Haven utilizes interdisciplinary, team-oriented approach to treatment, including expert medical care, quality symptom control, and comprehensive pain management as a foundation of care. Whereas beyond providing physical treatment, Haven attends to the patient's emotional, spiritual, and family needs and provides family services like respite care and bereavement counseling. Whereas Haven provides community-based palliative care, which delivers expertise to improve quality of life and relief from pain, and can be, can be provided at any time during an illness. Whereas in an increasingly fragmented and broken healthcare system, hospice is one of the few sectors that demonstrates how healthcare can and should work at its best for its patients. Whereas every year, 1.5 million Americans living with life-limiting illness and their families receive care from the nation's hospice programs and communities throughout the United States, including Haven. Whereas Haven is an advocate and educator about advanced care planning that helps individuals make decisions about the care they want. Whereas the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have pledged to put patients first in all of its programs, including hospice, ensuring a coordinated and patient-led approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individual services based on a patient's unique care needs and wishes. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Franklin White, Chairman of the Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in me by Suwannee County, Florida, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, and encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life, discuss their end-of-life wishes with their families, and observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hale.
I would ask you to pass the gavel to Commissioner Land and make this motion.
I would like to make the motion for the proclamation for Haven Hospice.
Have a motion by Commissioner
Second.
White, second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Well done, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane.
Good call.
Item number 22, presentation by U.S. Small Business Administration. Angel Class, how are you?
And actually, my colleague, Angel Class, has moved on to another declaration. So my name is Brian Beard. I'm a public affairs specialist for the Small Business Administration, Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. And as you know, we've been working here along with FEMA to try to help out everyone who's been affected by Hurricane Idalia. I wanted to thank Shannon Roberts and Mr. Scott for putting me on the agenda today to share this information with you. The SBA offers low-cost and long-term loans to anyone that has damage from Hurricane Idalia, whether it's a homeowner, renter, business, or a nonprofit. To date, we've had almost $5.4 million worth of loans approved in Suwannee County, mostly for homeowners and a few businesses. But want to make sure everyone out there is aware of what is available. So, there's only 3 weeks left till the deadline of November 29th. There's no cost to apply for the loan, no closing costs, and no prepayment penalties. and no interest or payments for the first year of the loan. After 1 year, the interest starts and the payments. And if you're offered a loan, you have 2 months to decide whether you want to take it or not. So we encourage people to apply now and decide later, before that November 29th deadline. And it's easy to decline the loan at no cost to you. The interest rate for most homeowners is as low as 2.5%, and for businesses 4%, and nonprofits 2.375%. So it's very reasonable, and the term can be up to 30 years depending upon the ability to pay. I had the pleasure of meeting Commissioner Perkins at another event a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned that he had a constituent that was very satisfied that he got a loan to cover the cost to repair his home, and with a 30-year term is only paying $69 a month, so it can be quite reasonable to cover those costs, and including your deductible. If you have a high insurance deductible, you can get a loan just to cover that. And you can also add 20% of the total estimated cost, including what was covered by insurance, for mitigation, to put on a stronger roof or storm shutters or a retaining wall to prevent flooding, something like that. You can get up to $500,000 for the home, up to $100,000 for personal property for homeowners and renters, and businesses and nonprofits can get up to $2 million, depending upon the amount of damage assessed and the ability to repay. But even if a business does not have any physical damage, if they've had a drop in sales, economic impact, they can still get an economic injury disaster loan to cover their working capital costs, to cover salaries and fixed debt payments, et cetera, until their business is back up to speed again. So we have had a few of those in the county as well. And if waiting for an insurance settlement, you don't have to wait until you know how much insurance is going to cover. With Hurricane Ian, a lot of people waited 5 or 6 months before they got a decision from the insurance, and by that time it was too late to apply. So we encourage people, if you're still waiting for your insurance, go ahead and apply for a loan. Apply now and decide later. The home loans are for one's primary residence, but if someone has a vacation home that had damage and they rent out that secondary home for rental income and pay taxes on that income like a business, you can apply for a business loan as low as 4% to cover the cost of the damage to that vacation home if it's being operated as a business. And one other important point is that if someone registers with FEMA, and FEMA will make sure the home is safe to live in and secure, and might provide some assistance for that, but if based on an income threshold, someone might be referred to the SBA from FEMA. And if someone gets that letter saying they're referred to the SBA for a loan, it's very important to follow through on that. Go ahead and apply for that loan, even if you don't want one, because if that loan is denied, you may be referred back to FEMA for additional grant assistance for basic help with damage to personal property. Okay, and also wanted to point out that the Disaster Recovery Center that's here in Suwannee County at Memorial Field on Ontario Avenue, just across from the Emergency Management Office, is going to be closing this Friday, the 10th. It's open from 9 to 5 until then, but it will be closing then. After that, there will still be a Disaster Recovery Center open in Lafayette County at the Mayo Community Center, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and also in Madison at the Career Source offices on Bay Street, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. So if somebody still wants assistance, get their questions answered from FEMA or SBA, or apply for that loan, or check their status, they can visit one of those locations after this Friday. And anybody can always go to sba.gov/disaster to apply online, or call 1-800-659-2955 to check status of their application. Okay, so that's just a basic synopsis of what's available. So I want to ask your assistance to spread the word, make sure everybody's aware of what's available, especially if they're still waiting on their insurance or if they had a high deductible for their insurance, so that they can explore all their options for recovery.
I got a question for you. I've got an employee, we just had a conversation about it today. She applied for a loan, and it was for, I'm just running numbers, I think it was $80-something thousand. The SBA came out and did some measuring and whatnot, and they reduced the loan to $50-something thousand. What what do they need to do? Can you appeal that, or?
Yes. Whether it's registration with FEMA or a loan application with the SBA, you're more than, able to appeal that decision. If the SBA estimated damage that was less than what they thought it was, they could get an estimate from a licensed contractor and include that in the appeal to say that this is what it's going to cost to fix this damage. If the reduction was based on what their estimated cost was, then yeah, they can show that contract thing. Another factor could be that it was reduced because of their assets' ability to repay, credit score, et cetera. So it is similar to a regular loan from a bank, it's much better terms. But if it was based on the estimated damage, then they should definitely appeal and include an estimate from a contractor.
And also another question, I see this where it says no credit available elsewhere. What is, is that just saying that a bank's turned you down?
It doesn't have to be that stringent, no. The term I use is if somebody has deep pockets, if they have a lot of assets and could easily walk into a bank and get a line of credit, whether it's a homeowner or a business owner, then they might, and you can see on the fact sheet there that, I said as low as 2.5% for homeowners. Somebody that has a lot of assets and is well off, they might pay 5% instead of the 2.5. It's one or the other. And for businesses, the vast majority of businesses can get a loan for 4%, but some, like a grocery store chain or something, might have to pay double that at 8%. But even if it's the larger amount, it's still better than what you're going to get at the bank. And if you're not sure whether you're going to qualify for the lower rate, it's free to apply. Once you're offered the loan, you have 2 months to decide whether you want to take it or not, and there's no penalty for declining the loan. So,
thank you. That's all I had. Anybody else? We sure appreciate you coming and doing
Yes,
that.
sir. Thank you for that
very much.
information.
Item number 23, presentation of proclamation declaring November the 15th through the 22nd, 2023 Farm City Week. Ms. Carolyn Saft.
I think you got a replacement.
Yep.
So I'm Erin Jones. I'm the Livestock Extension Agent here for Suwannee County. So I'm going to present the proclamation for Farm City Week. On behalf of UF IFAS Extension, Suwannee County, and Suwannee County Farm Bureau, we would like to recognize our farmers and ranchers during Farm City Week, November 15th through the 22nd of 2023. Florida farmers and ranchers help feed the world by producing a bounty of nutritious foods. To do this, they rely on essential partnerships with urban and suburban communities to supply, sell, and deliver finished products to consumers across Florida and around the globe. Rural and urban counties work together to build our nation's rich agricultural resources so that they can contribute to the health and well-being of our country and the strength of our economy. During National Farm City Week, we recognize the importance of this cooperative network. Agriculture and related enterprises employ more than 2 million workers, including farmers, ranchers, shippers, processors, marketers, retailers, inspectors, and others who contribute to an annual impact of $149 billion to Florida's economy. As they perform their daily work, farmers and ranchers preserve freshwater recharge areas, wildlife habitat, and green space. Consumers help farm families maintain their superior natural resources conservation practices by purchasing Florida's agricultural products. Farm City Week activities celebrate the mutual beneficial relationships that support the quality of life we all enjoy. This week, as we gather with family and friends around the Thanksgiving table, we count these relationships among our many blessings. We commend many Floridians who work hard and their ingenuity provide us with food abundance and reflect the true spirit of our state and nation.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Moving on to commissioner items. Are there any commissioner items?
Mr. Chairman, you want to approve the proclamation?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You want to read that part
I
there?
forget to do that every time.
That's your part there.
Now, therefore, I, Franklin White, Chairman, by virtue of the authority vested in us, do hereby proclaim November 15th through the 22nd, 2023 as Farm City Week. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Land.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Very good.
Any commissioner items?
No, sir.
County attorney items. Mr. Morrison, I think you had something on a piece of property.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, very briefly, Florida Statute 125.35 requires that anytime the county is going to lease property, that the county has to make certain findings. In previous meetings, the board has discussed with Mr. Scott leasing a piece of residential real property that the county owns down in O'Brien to a county employee. Last name is Lashansky. For purposes of the record, that's Laschansky. That's a 1,300 square foot house. The proposed rate is $600 a month. That would be a month-to-month lease, as it's not built into the lease that he be a county employee, but if he ceases to be a county employee, we can terminate the lease. But it allows somebody to be down there to make sure that the property is being taken care of and nobody's looting it. So what the findings that I need the board to make on the record is that this particular entering into this lease agreement is in the best interest of the county, that it's the board deems that this to be the highest and best used for this particular piece of property, and authorize Mr. Scott to enter into negotiations to execute the lease to lease this particular piece of real property to Mr. Lashansky on, I'm going to call them standard residential lease terms, and that lease I've already prepared and given to Mr. Scott. So that would be the motion that I would need, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion or a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Perkins.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Land. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Anything else, Mr. Morrison?
No, sir.
Moving on to general business, item number 24, Mr. Greg Bailey, North Florida Professional Services. I saw you about tripped back there a while ago.
I seen that too. I seen that too.
You stuck your foot out, didn't you?
did.
I tried.
See? We'll do that last. Good evening. Just a quick update. Weidman and Carter talked to the contractor today. They are complete with those two roads down there in Branford. So that work's been completed. 80th and 139th, that contract was funded and awarded to Music Construction. So that one will be starting here soon. South 76th Street, DOT gave authorization to advertise last week, so we'll be getting that to the staff to get that advertisement out there. Just a note, the project funding is about $6.4 million. Our updated project estimate is 6.3, so we're just under. We've noticed the asphalt prices are starting to trend down now, so it's a good thing. And we hope that some of the other prices will start trending down as well, based on that. Express has been fully funded and awarded to Kurtz Construction. Greenway Trail was fully funded and awarded to Kurtz Construction. 153rd Road, as I mentioned previously, we've done the flagging on the right-of-way, and Mr. Morrison, I think, is working on that aspect of that, as well as 184th. So with that, it brings me to 68th Terrace. Bring that up. 68th Terrace is the road out off of 129. It runs from 129 down by the hotels back to the old Badcock distribution warehouse back there. This started as an economic development project. Project Gorilla would be accessing that road. We've looked at that corridor. The county was going to reconstruct that road, and also put in a lift station in there for wastewater services. The city of Live Oak has water in that area already. What you see on the screen here, blow that up a little bit. Back to that. What you see on the screen is that's the western end. To the top is the driveways at the distribution center there. What we've identified in this area is shaded in yellow is the additional right-of-way would be needed to construct the reconstruction of the road. In this particular area, it would be a two-lane road as it is today, but we're also looking at the water and the wastewater we got to get in there on this end of the project. All right, as we move to the east, we're going to start widening it out to a three-lane section to allow a center turn lane. If you see that on the kind of the left side there, at that point we will end up with about a 36-foot wide pavement plus paved shoulders in there. So it's going to be quite a bit larger. You see the yellow hatched or shaded area to the bottom of that window there. That will be on the south side of the road. That will be additional right-of-way there. And then you'll see us starting to pick up also on the north side. The reason we don't go further to the west there is that is the existing stormwater basin for that warehouse, and we don't want to get into that and impact that. Moving on to the east, we get to the rear part of the two hotels that are out there that border 68. We get to that point, we're utilizing an open swell in that area we just talked about up to here. At this point, we would convert to a curb and gutter section, which will allow us to reduce our right-of-way requirements. So basically, we can fit everything within the existing right-of-way and not impact either hotel. We didn't want to get into any parking because that gets into business issues and all that. And we were able to adopt that and make that work in that realm. And that will carry our three-lane all the way up to the US 129 intersection. So I wanted to share that with you. That's the layout of it. Also, we've had meetings with the city of Live Oak. When we started this project, it was basically just looking at putting in that lift station and trying to cover that area. When you look at the overall corridor, that is all of 129. Discussions with the city, it's not pretty. It is apparent that the best thing to do is to make that station a master lift station for that area. And what the city wants to do now is basically bring all the stuff that's on the west side of 129, north of 68. They want to bring it down 68 and into this lift station. They want to replumb, for lack of a better word, I'll call it the Walmart lift station. That's the one that's out there existing today. They have issues with that one. They're having problems with it. That one pumps everything all the way straight into town. They want to replumb that and pump it back up to 68, and then we'll pick it up at 68 and carry it into the big force main that the city has that goes straight to the plant. So from an engineering standpoint, we're in agreement with the city's engineers. That's what needs to be done. We're working on how those costs will play out because the city had plans to upgrade the other station so they can put money into this station, and we'll be having a meeting here in the next few weeks with Mr. Scott and Mr. Sessions on how to work that part of it out. Just a reminder, the county has funds for the wastewater side, but at this point we still don't have monies to do the road construction. So, but that's where we're at.
A couple of things. These are 11-foot travel lanes, so keep that in mind. Let's try to keep the right-of-way needs down. And in the hotel area, it gets tight, but it does allow for the possibility of a sidewalk on the north side of the road as well, between that and the parking lots. It does not impact this layout, or this conceptual layout does not impact those the existing parking lots or anything else for those two hotels.
Any questions on any of that? Good?
It's just a win-win for both parties, I think, is with the whole lift station deal that helps the city of Live Oak as well as what we're trying to accomplish as well.
And there's, it works the whole area out there, and it sets us up for the future. 129 is our commercial corridor. It's going to keep growing as long as we can keep the infrastructure and get the infrastructure in place. And it's going to grow north of the interstate as well. And just another reminder, DOT has their construction project that will be coming here soon, and that's going to be adding signals out there at the interstate. That's something that the county's been after and the city's been after quite some time, so that'll be moving forward as well.
And this is the striping plan. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it actually shows the turn lane at that one part further on the west, which is close to where the warehouse property ends, and goes on up to 129. The bottom screen you see would be the stop at 129.
Mr. Chairman, also the project is budgeted. We did put that in the budget for this year, so just want to let you know that.
The estimated cost, that was the other thing. We have done a cost estimate on this work, this roadway work, and as I mentioned, the curb and gutter does add some cost to it, but the total cost right now, based on what we're seeing for unit prices, is $1.4 million. That's where we're at for that. Catalyst site, I believe staff will be sending out the water main project out to bid tomorrow. We've gotten all those documents to staff, and so that will be going out for bids. The master plan, we're working on getting that bundled up. We've sent some maps to the county administrator and the economic development director as far as confirming what we're looking at as far as build out of that area, as far as this initial planning horizon that we're looking at. And also we're looking at getting that wrapped up here soon. So that's all I have, unless you'll have something for me.
No, thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any, moving on to item 25, are there any additional agenda items? Seeing none, item 26, public concerns and comments. Name and address, if you
My
don't
name
mind.
is Keith Broders. I live at 201 Ranchera Street Northwest in Live Oak. What I would like to mention is the fact that I mentioned before that I'd love to see the county step forward and have a proclamation recognizing the 15th of December as Bill of Rights Day. How many people here in the room know that there's a preamble to the Bill of Rights? How many people, raise your hand if you knew there was a preamble. That's how good our schools are doing in terms of teaching. The preamble to the Bill of Rights is very important. I also wanted to say that one of the things that is required by law is that every city, county, state, and federal employee is required to take an oath of allegiance to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Failure to do so is, frankly, an impeachable offense. According to the 14th Amendment, anybody that does not honor their oath of office is in rebellion or insurrection and is subject to the consequences associated with it. One of the things I wanted to mention, does there anybody here have any idea how many times, first off, the Constitution of Florida has been amended how many times? Who knows? Or there's been 6 different constitutions in Florida. The last one was in 1968. How many times has this Constitution been amended since 1968? 144 times. When you take the oath to preserve and protect the Constitution, you're not preserving the federal Constitution only, but the state of Florida also. The size of the Constitution for the United States is 4,543 words. The Constitution for the state of Florida is 39,000 words. So anyway, these are just some thoughts to think about. But I think that if we're going to restore the greatness of this country, we need to be better educated, and we cannot rely necessarily on public schools and the mass media to inform us. We have to take individual and personal responsibility to learn and to teach these things to our children and grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I do not disagree. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none, Mr. Scott, any comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just want to report that Chairman, Mr. Norris, and I went to Tallahassee last week, had a real good meeting with some folks over there, dropped off our list of appropriations, and look very forward to that process. Tomorrow we have a listening session in Perry, economic recovery and resiliency. Commissioner Land and I are going over to that to speak and listen and learn. We've got a Florida Department of Emergency Management contractual staff in the office working for us, also with other components of the county, town of Brantford, city of Live Oak, and others. But they're here to help us. The state's picking up a tab on that. So some of the contractual arrangements we have with other folks will be lessened financially because of what they're going to be doing for us. Shannon's worked that out, working real well with the ladies. Should be meeting with the departments next week to help them go through the process. We're excited about that possibility. Tomorrow, Brenda has a meeting with some of the one of the directors at DOT in Lake City on planning. Our goal for months has been to work with DOT, making sure they understand what we've got coming. And as they develop the plans for projects, they know what we have so that we're not going back and refixing what we just constructed. So look forward to that outcome, and commend Brenda for her taking that on, and I'm using Brenda as our project manager for all projects so that she can be there to oversee where we are with all those, in addition to the contract with CI work with some of the firms. So, but just one more thing, just proud of our employees and what they do, and I know that you always talk about those, but sometimes they get beat on, but appreciate what they do. I support them, and supervising them is a pleasure, but I rely on my supervisors and department heads to supervise their folks and hold everybody accountable, so I'll hush. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Perkins?
Just thank all the departments for doing a wonderful job and keeping this county flowing, and thanks to those that's clearing up all of our trash, and things looking better. The roads are looking better. So that is all.
Thank you. Mr. Baldwin?
Appreciate everybody coming. Congratulations to Aaron once again.
Mr. Land?
Yes, congratulations, Aaron. Welcome, Raymond. Happy to have you. Isn't Aaron Carolyn November 17th the Thank a Farmer Day luncheon? So if you're a farmer, November 17th at the Ag Extension Office, they're doing 11:30 to 1:30 lunches for the agricultural community. I wanted to announce that for you guys. I don't know if they're pre-screenings. I don't know if you'll qualify. I don't know if a nursery qualifies there, Commissioner White, but I don't know.
Oh, really?
You'll take that over with Aaron and Carol.
I hope your tires ain't flat when you go home.
They will be.
It's going to get better. Also, I would ask that the public and employees and us ourselves keep the May family. Commissioner Perkins mentioned that in his prayer. Timmy May, Parks and Rec employee, 35 years old, married, 6 kids, was found by his father deceased unexpectedly. just a couple days ago. So keep the May family and all of his children and his wife and his immediate family and extended family in your thoughts and prayers. Unexpected tragedy there. And a loss definitely to Mr. Fury's department. And Mr. Fury is going to keep us updated on any arrangements as they arise. And then, last but not least, I'm going to ask the audience to help me. I don't know that this has ever been done before. It certainly hasn't been done since I've been on the board. But I mentioned it to Commissioner Hale earlier, so he thought it was a good idea as well. So if anybody gets in trouble, he's going to go with me. But we're going to sing happy birthday to the chairman.
Oh, man.
I'll lead it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday for your chairman. Happy birthday to you. And I'll end with that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Is that a sunshine violation?
Trying to catch you, Commissioner Perkins.
Anything else, Commissioner Land?
No, sir, I'll end with that one.
Commissioner Hale?
How do I follow that?
That's right.
I will say, and I do appreciate our employees, as always, pray for our community and our country and this nation. Y'all know what's going on out there. It's crazy right now. And the text we got about the one employee that was in Charlie in a motorcycle accident. Definitely want to pray for him a speedy recovery. I don't know what's going on with that, but praying for him too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just, the Mayor of Brantford there, he brought it up earlier. I just want to congratulate Brantford volleyball team on making it to state. That's a big deal. Really proud of them.
Go Brantford.
I appreciate all the employees, staff, everybody we work with, especially these commissioners here. They've been a blessing to work with and really enjoy that. Also, on the hospice thing that I did earlier, I would encourage any of you, if you have some money to donate, please do. It's a great cause. With that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Just a reminder, we're scheduled to have our special meeting on Thursday at 8:30 at the airport for the decoration.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention also, just talking about staff, we got notified today that Bill Harden, our airport manager, is taking another position in Georgia, more money. Don't have to put up with me. And so I'll be looking for an airport manager to fill that position.
Okay.
So I'll share that with you.
One other thing, and thanks, Adam, for reminding me. This weekend is Veterans Day, so we want to remember all our veterans as well. And also, I think there's a chili cook-off in Brantford this weekend on Saturday, so. 10 to 4. And I'll even be cooking chili for that, so we'd invite all of you down.
And does anyone know, and I hate to ask, put everybody on the spot, is the parade Saturday morning? Does anybody know? Saturday. Saturday, 9 o'clock. Okay, I've been getting a few calls on that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So with that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hale, second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what.